Okay, it's great to see everybody in person and doing these in person as well. But very excited about the U.S. Bank Vikings training camp to get started. It's been a very long off season. Wanted to thank a lot of people for where we're at as of today. Coach Zim and his staff have done a remarkable job through this whole process. I can't say enough about Rob Brzezinski. The cap challenges that we had coming out or going into the new year, all the signings and things that we were able to get accomplished. The loss of George Payton, and to see Ryan Munnins, Jamal Stevenson, and the rest of our staff just step up and do an incredible job, and that's a credit to them. And there's a lot of people involved. The offseason was so critical for us this year, especially with all the new players coming in, and for our coaches to be out on the grass with our players, teaching them the basic schemes, but also Coach Zim and the job that they've done, that they're some of the tweaks is going to add to our schemes. And excited about the fans coming out here finally to see us in training camp here at Twin City Orthopedics Performance Center. Our fans haven't seen our players and our star players in over a year. And this gives them an opportunity, and what an incredible job the business side did getting this training camp ready to welcome our fans back. And for our fans to come in and like I said, see our star players, to see all the new faces that we have on this roster. It's going to be a very competitive roster, to see that competition going day in and day out, and to re-engage with our fans and our players and our staff. So before I take any questions, just a couple of housekeeping notes. I think if you haven't referred to your phones or emails, we just send out a press release. I want to talk about Rick Dennison. We've agreed to terms on Rick Dennison. New role will be Senior Offensive Advisor. With this, we're going to move Phil Rauscher up to Offensive Line Coach, and then we hired Ben Steele as the Assistant Offensive Line Coach. On the Jeff Gladney situation, just to get that out, this is an ongoing legal matter, and at this time, we just cannot have any comment on it. We will address this matter at the appropriate time, so once we get into questions, if you have any follow-up questions on Jeff Gladney, until this situation is resolved, we cannot have any further comment on that. So with that, I'll go ahead and open it up for questions. I'm not going to talk anything, or no one will be able to comment on Jeff Gladney until we get everything resolved.
So why has Rick Dennison declined to be vaccinated? And is there any chance it could be vaccinated in the future? Tell us what's going on.
I'm not going to talk about Rick Dennison's medical situation. I just know that Rick Dennison is an important part of this staff. His agent, Peter Schaefer, a lot of us worked extremely hard to find a resolution. We're following the new COVID protocol that's been put out by the NFL and NFLPA, and very excited on him still being able to be a part of the staff in his capacity, but also seeing Phil Rauscher and giving him an opportunity to be the lead in that offensive line room, along with the addition of Ben Steele.
How involved do you envision he'll be in everything from game planning, just working with the coaches?
I know Coach Zim will be down here shortly, but I know they've laid out a plan on all the roles and responsibilities. But I know Rick will be a critical part of a lot of things. But I won't get into the exact roles and responsibilities.
What's the vaccination rate for the players?
I'm not going to get into that either. I know how our organization feels about people getting vaccinated. Me personally, I've been vaccinated. I think it's very important not only to protect yourself, but to protect a lot of other people. That is a decision by our players. We'll continue to educate them, but I know that the players that are unvaccinated, there's a specific protocol in place for them. And last year, Eric Sugarman and a lot of people did a tremendous job getting us through the season with the protocols in place last year. There's going to be 2 sets of protocols now, as many of you read, going forward, and we'll adhere to all the protocols, not only for the vaccinated players, but unvaccinated players as well.
How are you going to distinguish between them? I've heard some teams are going to do different colored wristbands. What are you going to do?
Yeah, we'll keep that internal right now, but we do have a system in place on how we'll be able to identify unvaccinated players, and we have to do that in order for us to be able to know who's unvaccinated and vaccinated, and make sure that we're following the protocol to a T. Yeah, I will just tell you that everybody in the building from Tier 1 and Tier 2 will be vaccinated.
Rick, how close did you come to accomplishing every goal you had in the offseason with your free agent pickups and drafts?
Joe, I guess that depends on the wins and losses. But I know we had a lot of holes to fill. I know when we started this process back at the end of our season, sitting with Coach Zimmer, the coaching staff, our personnel department, identifying how we have to get better, and then being able to have a game plan in place on how we're going to attack those needs. And I think on paper, we were able to go out and accomplish a lot, to get a lot of new faces in here, to get some players that are going to make significant contributions to this football team. And, but the process starts today as they report, and then we're out here on the field tomorrow. We've got a lot of work to do, and Coach Zimmer will know this as well, and he's already talked to the team about we're not ready to go out and play week 1. We've got a lot of work to do between now and then to get this team ready to prepared, and I have no doubt that Coach Zimmer and his leadership of this football team, and especially with all the new personnel, will have us ready to go.
Your team is very verbal in terms of let's talk about social issues. Are you planning to talk with the players and have an open discussion about the vaccination thing and just kind of get that going?
We've had a lot of discussion on that. We've tried to educate our players. I know during the OTA session, we've had Justice Allen Page, we had John Randall talk to our players about the vaccination. I understand it's an individual right and that's their decision, but we're trying to do everything we can to educate them so they can make a good decision.
How difficult is it to switch offensive line coaches at this point, especially considering, you've got 2 rookies who could enter as starters on the line and what have you?
I don't think it's a situation that we feel very uncomfortable at all. Phil's been here for 2 years. I know his background. I know Ben Steele is very familiar with the scheme as well from his background. Phil is a tremendous young up-and-coming offensive line coach. He knows the system, great teacher on the field. And then with Rico being a senior offensive advisor, having Clint Kubiak and those guys work together, feel very strongly that about this staff and the success that we're going to have on the offensive side of the ball.
What does that dynamic look like, since that's not, I assume, Tier 1 or Tier 2? Will that just be in Zoom meetings with Dennison?
That will be, Rick will be joining virtual. So I'm not going to get into, like I said, all the procedures and the assignments and the roles and responsibilities, but he will be in contact with Coach Zim. He will be in contact with Clint, with Phil, and basically just the whole offense, and giving his input from how we came to this agreement on what we agreed upon.
Rick, how much further along do you think the rookie class is this year compared to last year when you had, all virtual offseason?
I think for all teams, night and day, because we all had the ability to work with them. The coaches had the ability to work with them, to be on the field, to learn the new systems, to get adjusted to the speed of this game. So the first time they're walking in this building last year was today. They've already been in the building. They know their teammates. Will continue to grow that relationship amongst themselves going forward. But I think this rookie class, just like across the NFL, is going to be way, I would say, further ahead than the rookie class was last year.
How does the NFC North look to you now compared to the end of last season?
It's hard to predict because every year is different. You can't predict injuries. You can't predict, what's going on. I know our whole focus is right now on achieving the goals that Coach Zimmer has set out for this football team. So all we're worried about right now is week one, but to get to week one, we got to worry about starting tomorrow and what we have to get done in training camp. But I do believe it'll be a very competitive division. I believe it's one of the strongest divisions in the NFL. And week in and week out, you have to get ready to play.
Rodgers reporting today. Did you think he wouldn't show up?
The last time I checked, he was under contract, and under the NFL rules, I don't believe I can comment on a player from another team under contract. Next question.
How do you feel about the kicker situation?
Yeah, no, Patterson, as you saw, was going to be put on active PUP. He should be ready to go here shortly. Joseph, who we picked up off of Tampa Bay's practice squad last year, had a very good offseason. And just like at every position, we want to try to create as much competition as possible. We'll monitor that just like we do every other team's roster as we go through this process, through the training camps, the preseason. And our goal is to make sure that when we make our final 53-man cut, that we have the best roster possible.
Speaking of competition, after signing D.D. Westbrook, how do you feel about the depth at wide receiver behind Thielen and Jefferson?
I feel, and I know the coaches and our entire staff feel very strongly about that position. There's going to be a lot of competition. To see the difference in some of our younger guys that are going into their second year, KJ Osborne had a great offseason. We're excited about what we've seen on some of our draft picks as well. So it's going to be one of the most competitive positions on our roster. And Didi's going to come in. He's going to have to get caught up. But with Keenan McCardle coaching him the last 4 years, it's a huge advantage because he knows what he does well, what he doesn't do well. And one of the things that we wanted to shore up, and there'll be competition there, is our punt returner as well. Yeah, I'm not going to comment on any injuries. He's been in here working out, and without saying anything, we'll just see how he progresses.
I have two more.
How important was it to try to work something out with Rick? And we saw players like Madison go on social media really voicing their opinion that they want him to stay. How important was continuity?
I think it was a major part of it, and Rick has been an important part of our coaching staff since he's been here. And for us to work with his agent, Peter Schaefer, and to work through everything we had to work through from the protocol standpoint, we were able to come up with I believe, a great solution, and look forward to everybody working together and having that continuity.
Rick, just how do you think the dynamic is going to be in the locker room between vaccinated players and maybe those who aren't vaccinated?
It'd be hard for me to comment on that. I just know how close-knit this group is in that locker room, how everybody respects each other, and vaccinated or unvaccinated, we have one goal, and that's to come out here and win football games. Thank you.